last week as well. How much pain is okay to work into is a question I get from some of you all. And generally what I'll tell you is that if the discomfort is so sharp, abrupt, or intense that it makes you move differently than you normally would, or it makes you tentative, so it affects your ability to be confident moving through the movement, then that's a level of discomfort that we don't want to go into. It's creating something different. It's making you move in a different way. It's creating new habits that we don't necessarily want to ingrain. Doesn't mean that we need to be discomfort free though, right? So the idea is the pain is so intense that it's making you do something different than you normally would. If you're feeling it, whatever your thing is, it's there, but you're still able to move as if you normally would, and you're still able to put force into the ground, even though you're kind of feeling that during the movement, that's proceed with caution, and we'll just kind of keep an eye on it. But that's kind of the very general guideline. If it's making you do something wonky, or you're not confident, you're moving tentatively because of it, you're almost anticipating it hurting, then we need to change something. Either don't go up in load, go down in load, slow down the tempo, reduce the range of motion, reduce some variable, or use another variation or something like that. Make a change. At the very least, don't try to increase arbitrarily because you think you should. Gain your confidence right where you are, or take a step back and try to gain your confidence. Try to regain your normal, whatever your normal movement pattern would be. So that's general guideline. How much pain is okay to work into? If it's not changing the way that you normally would move and you can still move powerfully and confident, it's just kind of there, that's a proceed with caution in the short term, and then we'll monitor your recovery session to session, because sometimes things can feel okay during the session and then later in the week things blow up a little bit. So that's in the session though. And then we'll just kind of by the end of the week kind of recount how your recovery went throughout the week within those sessions and see if the overall weekly volume was within your tolerable dose. And then that kind of goes into the next thing, which is a pain scale. So some of you use this, and maybe some of you don't, but you've all probably been familiar with it. Like a 0 to 10 pain scale. How much pain are you experiencing right now from a 0 to 10 scale? 10 being the worst pain that you could possibly imagine, which means that if you were to tell me that it's a 10, that we would go to the hospital. But the problem, so that's like a relatively clear anchor. If you're not calling 911 right now, this is the worst pain I've ever possibly imagined and had in my life, it's not a 10. But every number beyond that is a little bit arbitrary. So some of you have asked me, well, how much discomfort should I stay within? You know, is a 3 okay? And that doesn't have any meaning to me as much as it doesn't have any meaning to you. So if we're going to use those scales, which I don't generally, but if we're going to, we have to assign some meaning to it. So going back to what we just talked about, think back to a scenario in which your discomfort was intense enough that it was changing the way that you moved, that it was making you not confident, it was making you tentative. If we already have established that that's beyond the threshold that we want to go, whatever that number is in your mind, then that's it. If that's a 4, then we're staying at a 2 or a 3. But I want you to anchor, if you're going to put a number to something, I want you to anchor it to an experience. Now, if you've ever gone to the hospital because of the worst pain that you could possibly imagine, then you know what a 10 is, and you know what a 0 is. So now it's finding that middle ground of, oh, okay, it was two weeks ago during that one session, I could feel it, and I was trying to avoid it. No matter what I did, I just couldn't tolerate that. I say, okay, whatever that is for you, if you want to assign a number to that, that's beyond our upper limit. So we want to stay below that. And again, if you want to assign a number to that, that's fine. Or a red light, green light, yellow light system. So red light is a level of discomfort that's making you move differently, that's making you not confident, that's red light. Yellow light is just below that. It's proceed with caution, even though a yellow light in traffic doesn't actually mean proceed with caution. It means stop if you can. In this sense, a yellow light means proceed with caution. And then obviously if it feels good and you don't feel anything, it's a green light. And then hopefully over time, the green light starts to become more prominent with different loads. And maybe we still have a yellow light zone, but your ceiling has raised. And then